We finished part 2 of this walk sitting on a bench at Tardebigge Top Lock. Now it's time to move on to Tardebigge New Wharf and Tunnel, then past the Old Wharf and Shortwood Tunnel, skirt around Orf Church and visit the 2 Bittel reservoirs before finishing at Wast Hill Tunnel. Following the construction of Tardebigge Tunnel, the new wharf was built on land owned by the Earl of Plymouth. Originally there was a basin with a series of wharfs together with a weighbridge, cottages, stables and nearby lime kilns. A canal arm was added in 1830 and the current dry dock created from part of that arm in 1924. Between 1908 and 1911 the canal's maintenance stores and plant were moved from Stoke Wharf to Tardebigge, and a carpenter's shop, blacksmiths, a fitting shop were added together with an office. The warehouse, which is now residential, was built in 1810, with the cottage on the end added in the mid-1800s. The 580-yard tunnel, which was completed in January 1811, has no towpath, and until the mid-1870s leggers were employed to walk boats through. As you can imagine, this wasn't an easy task and resulted in several deaths. The leggers also liked to refresh themselves, somewhat rather too liberally, in the former Plymouth Inn, which stands above the tunnel's entrance. Opposite the inn were stables, and this imposing house was occupied by the Maintenance Depot superintendent. Nearby, a row of cottages named Tug Row was built for the men and their families who operated the steam tugs, which were introduced to replace leggers. These in turn were replaced by diesel-powered tugs, one of which is on display at the wharf. After crossing the busy Bromsgrove Highway, you reach the tunnel's northeast portal on foot, via a path and quiet lane. Tardebigge Old Wharf is where the canal stalled due to lack of money in 1807. Now a base for Anglo-Welsh boat hire, there were once wharfs on both sides of the canal together with a large basin. The wharf proved a success with goods carried overland to Worcester. After passing this hotel boat, the next part of the walk takes you through verdant Midlands countryside. The grass is green, the birds are singing, there are no joggers, no cyclists, and the way ahead is pleasantly shaded. The towpath approaching the west portal of Shortland Tunnel has been closed due to remedial work being carried out on this landslip. To get to the east portal, you follow a footpath over the top of the 613-yard tunnel across fields and through woods. And then it appears below you. The towpath continues in the same dappled fashion as before. But you're soon back into the open countryside again. With local produce on sale along the way. Following Copley or Scarfield's Dingle Aqueduct, you get to Overchurch Marina at Scarfield's Wharf. Constructed around 1806, the wharf served a local brickworks until the Second World War, and it was also where a boat service terminated, taking people from Aldchurch to Birmingham. If you go up to the road, there's the Weybridge Free House. Further on there's the Crown. Popular with boaters since the 19th century, it still has a stable block. Withy Moorings is a relatively new arrival with space for 54 boats. Callow Hill Wharf was a coal yard until the 1920s, and the adjoining stone cottages were stables. After skirting Aldchurch, you'll reach the Crown Meadow Arm. Now a nature reserve, it was the canal's original route until the M42 arrived in the 1980s, and the waterway was diverted. Over another aqueduct that crosses the old road to Birmingham, and you approach the first of two Bittel reservoirs. In 1837, the lower Bittel reservoir originally covered 31 acres, but the capacity was lowered in the 1950s to mitigate the threat of flooding, and currently it measures 23 acres. Water from the reservoir flows into the River Arrow. This ensured that the local farms and mills didn't run dry. This is the Lentman's cottage, where water from the upper Bittel reservoir enters the canal. You take a footpath through a farm to reach it. Completed in 1832, this reservoir has also been lowered from 91 to 80 acres and currently only has a capacity of approximately 260 million gallons of water. Ironically, the reservoir's completion occurred shortly before the Birmingham and Gloucester Railway was built, parallel to the canal, and would lead to its demise. Formerly known as the Wharf Inn, the current Hopwood House pub is where the canal reached in 1797, but work couldn't continue until 1805 due to the lack of finance and the canal company's treasurer's somewhat questionable accounting. From the pub it's less than a mile to the southeast portal of the Wast Hill Tunnel, from where Solar Kingfisher emerges. This is the last you'll see of leafy Worcestershire. At the other end of the tunnel you'll find yourself in a South Birmingham housing estate, and in part 4 we'll walk from there to the famous Gas Street Basin in the city centre. Check out my other walks along the Oxford and Stratford canals, Grand Union Canal and Birmingham Canal navigations. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon on another towpath.